Okay, welcome everybody. And here we are with another episode, and I'm really excited to have Dr. T as my special guest today. Dr. T holds a Doctor of Chiropractic degree. He's got also a Bachelor of Science degree in Human Biology and is a certified clinical hypnotherapist and a certified massage therapist. So he sounds like somebody that would be great to have in your back pocket. Using his remote healing technique, which he has developed, so it's a unique technique, Dr. T's transformed the health, wealth, and well-being of thousands of people and animals. So I'm really delighted to be able to delve into that with you today, Dr. T. Welcome. I would love to have you, first of all, just tell us a bit about you, and I like for people to, explore with us how they got to be where they are now, what the reason is that you're doing the work you're doing now.
Well, it's all been one great big accident. Just one accident after another.
Love
Wish I
it.
was joking. I'm not. I mean, literally, it's been one accident after another, and I got into a couple of motorcycle accidents in my late 20s, and I ended up in pain, really bad pain, for many years, and was really trying to figure my way out of all that stuff. And slowly over time, I kept meeting different people doing different things. I looked at all kinds of different healing modalities, and finally, I found somebody who did something really different, and it's what inspired me. I mean, he inspired me to get into healing. He was like, I've known you for 6 months now, Tony, and you're just curious. And he's right. I'm just very curious. I've always been curious. And he said, well, I can tell you this much. You've had 8 jobs in 6 months, and you'll never figure out the human body or the human condition. And I kind of remember that day very clearly. Remember that day of being like, huh, that's interesting, and of course, I was really bad in school, so I didn't think I could even get through school. And so I think I started with my first college class was at age 35. And so I just started with one, beginning algebra to see if I could even do it. And next thing I know, it spurred some interest in just going ahead and plunging full force into studying, first of all, chiropractic and all these other modalities as well that I picked up along the way before chiropractic. I had broken a bone, a navicular bone in my hand, and that's the hard. Of course, it's the hardest bone in the body to heal. Any doctor out there knows that. That's an answer on all of our quizzes when we're in school. And so I was seeing an orthopedic surgeon, and he was just like, we only have about 10 more days, maybe 2 more weeks, and we're going to have to do a major surgery to try and save that bone. I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, we'll cut the end of the tip of your hip off and find an artery in your leg that we'll take out and we'll plug in there, and hopefully we'll save that bone by doing that. Or we freeze the wrist. You won't be able to use it for a lot of things that you're doing. And so I left there. I just couldn't believe it. I was like shocked. It was a really massive surgery because I'd had a little, small movable cast on for about 4 months, and he was just like, it's just not healing. So on my way home from the doctors, I stopped at a yard sale, and everything there was junk. And I was getting ready to lean across the curb to leave, and they had a box of books that they were literally throwing out, and the top book said, "Heal yourself with hypnosis." And so I flipped the guy a quarter, and I took the book home and opened it up, and it just kind of it just talked about hypnosis and how you can make your own script and make your own things and do it yourself on a cassette tape. And so I did it, and I listened to it for 10 days. I went back, the bone was 100% healed.
Mm.
And so that is probably what really got me. That was probably what really got me interested in the mind over body healing. And
Yep.
certainly, I became a clinical hypnotherapist first. I did that for
Right.
a couple of years,
Hmm.
and really just saw the power. And I really held on to my roots there because in my training, this woman had this amazing tape from these guys doing nonverbal hypnosis in the South, like in Mississippi or somewhere, and that always stayed with me. That experience of seeing how they were doing this nonverbal, so they would just take a hand, kind of move it around, and get people relaxed, and then they would do the scripts in their mind,
Oh,
basically.
wow. I've never heard of that.
Completely,
Okay.
yeah, it was completely nonverbal. And
Mm.
so and then they would show, the woman would come back. Gosh, I can't believe it. I walked out. I haven't smoked since. I was 3 weeks ago. Or they would come back. They demonstrated a number of different people. People who were scared of driving around corners, driving up and down hills. smokers, anxiety, social anxiety, these sorts of things. They were demonstrating, they were fixing this using nonverbal hypnosis. So that always stayed with me as I was doing my studies, and I always kind of was drawn towards intentional based healing modalities, using intention to drive instruction and to try to help the body heal itself and drive itself. And so all of that is kind of, I really sunk my mind into mind body techniques, and it was just kind of a natural progression. And finally, about 10 years ago, a client came in and was like, I think you should start working with angels more. And I have a really interesting angel story. Maybe I'll tell it later. But she literally had a book, and it taught you how to call in angels for healing. And I just was like, oh, this is so dumb. I mean, I'm not going to sit in a room and put sage around me and light a candle and speak these specific words and all that stuff. She said, well, just do it how you're doing this other work you're already doing. And so I tried it, and we had a miracle right in front of us. This woman who was a client. And so that's what started my journey down this road that we're doing now, and that is using angels for healing. That's all I do. I don't do any hands-on work. I'm 100% remote, angelic, whatever you want to call me. I don't care.
Oh.
I'm a human engineer. A client gave me that name years and years ago. And it's just the idea that I'll look at anything. If it's going to help somebody, I'm willing to investigate it and look at it. We just had a class here. I teach this, teach TNT as a technique. I just had a class, and every now and then I'll find somebody in class who does need some physical, sometimes we still need the physical, maneuvers. But
Touch, yeah.
oh my gosh, we had, I don't even know, 7 or 8 absolute miracles within the class over the weekend. Unbelievable stuff. It's really amazing. It's fun to watch. I love waking up in the morning and checking my email and seeing the miracles that we had yesterday. And it's really it's hard to wrap your mind around until you see it. And that's why one of our models is seeing is believing. So we have people who've never done any healing at all having a miracle within the first hour from across the room.
Mm.
So it's pretty. It's astounding. I mean, it's astonishing. It's like you're just once you see it and you start going, oh my God, I can't believe that. Is it really gone? And then the next person does it, and then the next person does it, and it's pretty cool.
So, a couple of things from that for me. First of all, why did this client come in and say to you in particular, "Oh, I think you should work more with angels"?
Well, she's a doctor, first of all. So she was a doctor. She's a homeopathic doctor,
Mm-hmm.
and she was just very interested in angels and how they could be used for healing. And so I mean she's been a client for over 20 years. She comes in just about every week, and so we have a really close working relationship. But she was always like, and I would tell her some of the stories that I had in my life, and particularly in that house that I lived in Los Angeles. I'll tell my story really quick. So
Yeah,
I
please.
had this I had this knock on my gate. I just moved into this new house, and it was impossible how we got this new house. My girlfriend at the time and I, it sold in 5 minutes, and we did the backup offer at like 100,000 less than what they wanted because the house was falling down. and and so when the person got the giant book that said the house is falling down, they backed out, and we got this really amazing, unique house. It was on top of this hill in the middle of Los Angeles. It had 50 acres of preserved land behind it that our backyard went down into. So I'm surrounded by 30 million people, and I have this giant park behind my house that
Mm.
led all the way out up into the mountains. So you walk out the front door, you would look over downtown Los Angeles, and you walk out the back door, and you had this clear, open nature path all the way up to the mountains in the backyard. I mean, it was just this amazing house. Well, we moved in, and I think it was like our third day in the house. I hear this knock on my gate, and I'm like, "What the hell's knocking on my gate? No one even knows I live here." I open up the gate, and there's this woman standing there, and she's like, "Hey, I'm here for healing," and I'm like, "Who told you I lived here?" She says, "Oh, I've come to the Self Realization Fellowship, and I just know this neighborhood, and I was just walking by, and I felt like there was a healer here." I said, "Well, I'm in school. I do massage. I do hypnosis. I do a bunch of different stuff. Come on in." So I brought her in. And I worked on her. Well, it turns out this one was highly psychic, and highly, highly, highly psychic. She was pretty much internationally renowned for her talents, and used by a number of just primarily synagogues. Around all over the world. Really, they would show her old scrolls, and she'd tell them what she would define them for for the synagogue and for the people running it. And long story short, she came for a while and she said, I have two sons, a jerk and a saint. I'm going to bring you the jerk first. And she did. And she was right. He was a jerk and I fixed him. And she said, then I'm going to bring you the saint next week. And so the appointment, she shows up. She's by herself. I said, hey, where's the saint? And she said, well, he came to me about 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock this morning and woke me up and told me that he was dead. I said, what? She said, yeah, he woke me up and he was killed in a car accident on his way home from work. And I said, oh my God, I'm so sorry. He says, yeah, well, he's still with me. He says he's not quite ready to pass over yet. And he's got some things to teach me. And he wanted to come along here today and talk to you. And I said, oh my God, that's amazing. She said, yeah, well, he's telling me you don't believe me. And I said, oh no, I believe you. I just have never met somebody whose dead son was still talking to him before. And she says, he tells me the only way you'll believe me is if I tell you you have a shotgun wrapped up in a camouflage jacket buried in your basement underneath a bunch of boxes. And I said, well, what does he want me to know? He picked the one thing. I mean, my girlfriend didn't want the shotgun moved. We were moving from a different house. She's like, yeah, I want you to sell that, get rid of it, give it away, do anything with it. I don't want it in the house. So I hid it in the basement underneath a bunch of boxes in my old army jacket. Nobody, there's no way anybody could. I mean, it's just crazy. He picked this one thing that I was like, what does he want me to know?
Mm.
And so she proceeded to say, well, angels kind of been following you around. Remember that time? He reminded me of a couple of times in my life where I had near death experience. I grew up on a farm. Any farmer has had a near death experience. And so as a kid, I grew up on a farm and I had more than I could count. And when I say near death experience, like, a tractor lurching forward or a glove getting caught in a conveyor belt or a door to a silo failing and almost falling and all kind of he just reminded me of all these different times and he said those were angels, those were your angels that saved you. And I was like, well, wow, amazing. And he said the angels brought you to this house and they're here just waiting on you to ask them for help. And I just was kind of like, okay, well, all right, I'll start trying. And she kept talking about he kept telling me one of the reasons they put me in that house is because we had all this nature behind the house and negative energies and things that some of the healing that I was going to be doing was here so that this nature could help the angels come in and help them carry away some of this ill that people are having. Well, this was 20 years ago. I'm a slow learner. So I tried. It's just nothing ever happened. Nothing ever worked. It just never, no one ever got better. And so I kind of forgot about it. And fast forward 10
Mm.
years, and this client of mine brought in this old, I don't even know where the book was from. It was an older book, and it just talked about how the archangels are busy, but there's a whole group of other angels that you can work with that no one talks. I mean, they're out there. We just don't know how to ask for help correctly. And so I think I figured out how to do that. People,
Okay, so
people always. So I know one of your questions are when you're gonna be like, well, how do you know they're angels, right? I mean, people always have, people. How do you know they're angels? Well, first of all, that's what we are intending, and second of all, how can this happen time and time and time again? Some of these miracles, some of the stuff that we see every single time we do this, and it's not just me. It's all of the students in the class are having miracles because I'm not the one doing it. I teach them how to do it, and then they start having them right in front of us. That's one way I know. Another way is we've been doing these calls here lately to help promote the work, and we were on a call just last week, and there was a guy on there named Joe, and Esther is the one, she runs everything for me, so she's on the call moderating it, and she says, oh hey Tony, Joe's on the call. Well, I thought it was Joe, the guy who took my class, the last class. I was like, oh hey Joe, what's going on? And Esther says, yeah, he's got a bilateral elbow pain. I said, Joe, what do you mean you have bilateral elbow pain? It's right where the muscle inserts into the bone on both those elbows. There, that should take care of it. And that's how fast the treatment was. Like I just did right now. That's how fast the treatment was. And all of a sudden this low voice gets on. Well, I don't know what Joe you're talking to, but holy shit, it's gone. I worked on the wrong Joe. I worked on
wow.
the wrong guy. I thought I was working on the other guy who I knew. And the guy with the problem, 100% gone.
Yeah. So even then, even though the intention was that you were working on another Joe, it didn't matter.
Didn't matter. That was the
Yeah.
guy that needed help. They just come in and wiped it right out. This is the kind. I'll work on the wrong body part. When I first started doing this, a couple of times I worked on the wrong body part. Well, how's that leg feeling? Feels fantastic. That was your left leg, right? No, that was my right leg, but it's completely better. I mean, it's just it's there's room for error with angels. They know more than we do.
So my thing around angels is I know that there'll be a number of people out there that kind of have difficulty with the concept of an angel because they have a bias or even a trauma from religious upbringing, or or just skepticism, I guess, around the whole religious concept of angels. So and I guess you've answered my question about how do we know where they're around, because they just keep doing these things. But I guess, is there some other way that you could explain the concept of an angel that people who just have problem with that word will find it easier to get their heads around?
Yeah, you start to recognize that this is all consciousness. What we're doing, this is consciousness medicine. So it's a form of asking for a higher consciousness for help. So what I teach in my classes, what we're doing is we're using consciousness to find out what's wrong with someone, and then we're using an intention via consciousness to ask for help from a different realm, an angel from an omnipotent energy that's in really occurring in a different realm. And you can't. Most people listening to this were drawn here, most of them, and those who can't wrap their mind around it still have had an angelic experience. Even though they can't wrap their mind around it, they were still drawn here, so they're still listening, and that's consciousness. Consciousness finds the people that get the message and are like, okay, this is no baloney. He's not joking. This is all he does, and it is all I do. And I teach people what literally when it was one of the clients who brought me that book that time. A client right after her was the one who kept pushing me to teach it. And so over time, when I finally decided, okay, I think I want to teach this, they started showing me. I started getting little hints on how to share this knowledge, and they're big hints. In other words, we all have angels, and we can all ask for help from them. But what we're able to do through all of my training and everything, all of the stuff I've done and these little hints, I'm able to make that happen for you instantaneously and bring you up to speed really fast, where you're able to do just the same things I'm able to do. So, I kind of didn't really answer your question, but
No, you kind of did.
yeah, I don't really waste my time with people who
With
can't
people
wrap
who
their mind.
can't get,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't have time for it. You know what I mean? I just had a woman send me if you're a client of mine, we have a remote service request that you can do, like an emergency. If you have an emergency, you can do a request. And so she sent me a request for a friend of a friend's daughter last night. A friend of a friend's daughter. So she sees her good friend, and her good friend happens to come along, or she'd never met her before, but her daughter's 28 years old and had a heart attack and was rushed to the hospital, and they didn't think she was going to make it. So this client of mine sends me a request to help this person. I don't even know her name. I don't even know who the heck she is. I don't know what hospital she's in. I don't know anything about her, other than this woman sent me money to do an angelic healing request, and I get the email this morning. She's out of the hospital. It completely disappeared. They came up with a diagnosis of it must have been anxiety. And how's it anxiety when you have heart enzymes and
Mhm.
you're admitted into the emergency room? I mean, when doctors don't know, they just come up with something. It must have been an anxiety attack. The girl's 28. She has no reason to be anxious. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that goes on all the time. I mean, this is all the time. And some people, some doctors might be like, well, what do you mean you didn't know who, how you work on somebody, who you don't have their permission or anything? Well, this woman is dying. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
I, it's up to the angels. They make the decision. I mean, I just use the intent and had them go do what they do. And what we find with heart attacks and that sort of thing is usually it's an emotional event tied into liver, gallbladder, anger, some other emotional event, kidneys, fear. Um, and I mean, I don't even remember what I did other than sent the angels out to have them do what they do. We call it the big three. There's three big groups that we've defined that we use them, and they have very specific purposes. And that's what I did for this woman. I get the email this morning. She's home.
Amazing.
And it happens all
Yeah.
the time.
Um, I mean, I was just thinking as you were talking, to answer my own question for people who are a bit skeptical or just have, see, I suppose I don't necessarily use the word angel myself, but I certainly believe in higher powers, and I totally get what you're saying about consciousness. And my son's been doing training on the other side of town. So, and it's at 6 o'clock at night. So it's, the terriblest traffic of the day and all this stuff. It's a 45-minute drive. And last week at some point, he said to me, "Oh, Mum, why is it that whenever you take me, the traffic's a lot better than when Dad takes me?" And I was like, well, every morning when I know I'm going to be doing traveling, then I ask that my travels be safe and smooth.
That's
And
intention.
exactly,
That's
that's intention.
intention.
And I'm asking, to me, I guess I think of it more as I'm asking, the universe, I'm asking the gods, I'm asking the higher powers. But it is the same thing as what you're talking about. I mean, it's all energy on a higher level, isn't it?
Absolutely. And now you can just intend a little harder and ask the angels for a little bit of help. I was
Yeah,
cracking
right.
a joke in my class. I told this joke. I just told people in the class. I'm like, well, look, you guys, I expect the front row parking spot. I expect the ticket to the sold out show. I expect this is just how I roll. I go to a restaurant and the line starts behind me. It doesn't matter if it's 12 o'clock lunchtime rush or whatever it is. It's empty when I get there and the line forms behind me. Now, that's not being arrogant. It's just my life is easier because I have got these angels around all the time.
Mm.
I told this story. I was in Los Angeles, and LA's got a few cars there. Same thing for me. I'm never in traffic. I'm never stuck. It just never happens. But I go to my favorite sushi spot and I pull in, and the parking lot's in a circle, and I pull in, and the place is full. It's early afternoon dinner or whatever it was, and I drove around the parking lot once, and I just started laughing. I was like, "Are you kidding me? What are you guys? You got to be joking!" I mean, I literally was laughing. I was like, "What? I don't remember the last time you didn't have a parking spot set up for me. What the hell's going on?" And this guy comes out of the store, and he runs across the parking lot, jumps in his car, and races off so fast. I about lost it. It was so damn funny. I thought, what in that? Does he got to go to the bathroom? Does he have what kind of? What did you guys do to him? I mean, it was hysterical. But yeah, I was just. I mean, I started laughing. It's just like you got to be joking me. What do you, you bums? People always say, what kind of angels do you use? I use the beach bums. I use the angels just hanging out by the beach, who are just got nothing better to do, and so every now and then they play jokes on me like that. You know.
Yeah, yeah, funny. And so why is it, I mean, obviously I totally get, work remotely doing healing as well, and totally, don't have any problems with that concept. But why is it that you only work remotely now?
Well, I moved to a little town in Prescott. It's a small town, and I don't know. I said at the beginning I don't like people, didn't I?
Yeah, I don't believe you though.
No, I'll still see people. I just, well, it all started years ago. I just, I had a guy come in. His mom was dying. She was dying in a hospital in Dallas. We fixed her remotely. She walked out, pulled all of her tubes out. Spicy older woman. She literally walked out at 3 o'clock in the morning, and she was like a socialite. She traveled all over the world and just told a lot of people all over the world about me. So I started getting
Ah,
these calls from people all over the world, and I got a bunch of clients there in Australia, Melbourne, Sydney, Perth, all over the place, all over countries I never even heard of calling me, and so that's kind of how it started. And I had a full. I've always had a full practice anyhow. I mean, even in school, I just had a full practice just because I'm just good at what I do, and as people would come in, I would tell them, hey, if you get sick and you're traveling or something, just call me. I mean, we can do this stuff remotely.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
so remotely just started building and building, and pretty soon, I mean, you can only take care of so many people. I mean, I don't even know now. I think about 1,000 active clients, and so that's why I had to develop these programs. I have this program. It's called Crazy Unknown Shift. It's all on my website, where we get 15 people together at once, and we treat 15 people together at once.
right.
Yep, and after I treat them for about a half an hour or 15 minutes, then I work on each person individually for 3 or 4 minutes, however much time we have left, while everybody else hopes and wishes that these people get
Yeah,
better. and
Mm,
it's absolutely amazing. It's stunning. Um, the stuff that's going away is absolutely shocking. I mean,
mm,
we have results with stuff like spinal stenosis. I don't know if spinal stenosis is where the spine swells on the inside, the central canal. You lose control of your nerves. We had a spinal stenosis case on. She had 90% occlusion of any doctors out there. L2, L3, L3, L4, L4, L5. So all of her disc spaces were completely blocked. She couldn't walk, barely walk. She had a walker, but losing track of her bowel, her urinary bladder. I mean, she was probably the worst one on the call. But that's the kind of stuff that we get on the call, and she's
mm,
completely in one program. It's 4 1-hour sessions over a month, and she's completely better.
mm, mm.
No walker, no loss of. She can walk. She's dancing. She's actually known for her dancing around town. She's back dancing. I mean, this crazy. This
Yep.
is some unbelievable stuff. These angels don't mess around. And so the people in the class, what we have in class that was really amazing would probably be there was a woman in the class this weekend. And again, this is a student who does the healing, not me. I tell them what to do. It's all written in their manual how to work on somebody. But this woman had had a hysterectomy and had all of her reproductive organs removed 20 years ago. I can't remember what was happening, but she had an infection afterwards and was stuck in the hospital for 2 weeks with a horrible infection. And since that surgery, everything was coming out of her. So she's having a prolapse of her basically all of her abdominal
Oh,
organs. Yeah, prolapse. You know what that is, right? It's like a basketball hanging between your leg,
mm,
and hers was half a basketball. Also, she was running a 102-degree fever for 25 years. So I walked around the room. I do what I do. I download this code into you so that you have access to the angels. I put my hand on her where I do that at, and I was like, What's going on?" She said, "Oh, I'm like this all the time." I said, "Not anymore. We're gonna fix that." She said, "Oh, no, no, you don't understand. I have to change my clothes 3 or 4 times a day. Have to wash my sheets every single day." She says the worst part is no man will sleep with me because I'm so hot, burning up like this. 30 years worth. That's crazy.
that
It's
is
gone.
crazy.
It's
Yeah.
gone. The
Mm,
prolapse is gone. All the heat was gone. She came. She is. That was all the first day. That was the first hour of the first day. We fixed all of it.
mm.
That's a
Amazing.
miracle. I don't know
Yeah.
what else you call that. Anyone listening, any doctor out there, what the hell is? What do you imagine was going on with her? She
Mm,
had an infection in just about every cell of her body, and these angels come in and match frequencies, all in accordance with Royal Rife's work back in the 20s. That's how I teach it. We modulate them. We call it well, again. We divide them into a couple of groups, and I had a new person. I read to her out of a book. I said, "Here, just intend the angels do this for this woman." And she got up. She said, "What did you? This is. It's like a light switch was just shut off." And so these are. I don't know what else you call them. I mean,
yep.
I don't. The word is a little grandiose. I don't like words like miracle and healer and all this because at the end of the day, we're not doing. I'm not sitting. I mean,
Yeah.
I do this 10, 12 hours a day. I'm not wiped out. I like to go play. I like to go for a bike ride when I'm done working. And these are energies outside of us. This is not
Mm,
like Reiki. It's not like I'm a super high power guy. I'm not. I'm just sitting there, and I know how to intend that vibration. And it's a how I'm able to teach it is it's a code. They showed me a code. It's like a light language code. There's a lot of people out there talk about light language. That's kind of what it looks like when I plug it in. And I basically, all my experience with all my experience and having all these people push me, "Hey, you got to teach it. You got to teach it." Every night I went to bed going, "How in the hell am I going to pass this on? How am I going to pass this on? How am I going to pass this on?" And they finally showed me. And they showed me on a beach in Nicaragua, and it was really quiet. My mind was really quiet. I was just relaxing, looking. I was really looking for shooting stars, looking for UFOs, which I have seen down there a few times. There's no lights down there, so I'm out in the countryside, and there's no city lights, and so I was just lying back, really meditating, just relaxing, and they just kind of popped in of how there's an energy that comes out of your hand that opens up a certain part of your mind, and I'm able to plug this code right in, and boom, you're up and running. Now, anybody and everybody listening, including yourself, obviously, have access to angels. I just don't know if you can do what we're doing with them yet. I haven't seen it yet. I
yeah.
mean, I hear people, "Oh, I'm working with archangels." I'm, well, what are you fixing?
Yeah.
What's going away? People just feel better. I don't care about feeling better. I feel good every day. I want to know: Are you fixing disease? Are you fixing weird stuff? vertigo, backache, uh, floaters in the eye, colitis, cystitis, bursitis, aches and pains, and spinal stenosis, and I mean I could go on and on and on. And you know this stuff is disappearing, and it's absolutely amazing what we're seeing. These cell wall deficient forms are pathogens. This is probably one of our biggest challenges facing us health wise.
Yeah, I did want to ask you about that. So yeah, please tell us more. What do we need to know?
Well, this is a big deal. This is the human body is we have burden. So how full is your glass? Right? Is your glass so full? Is it so full that one more drop in the glass and spills over? So so that's what I'm finding is our immune systems are wrecked,
Yeah,
and these bugs are getting stronger and stronger. We've been using antibiotics for what 45 years. That's why we have E. coli.
yeah,
These things make these pathogens stronger. Now we have 5G everywhere. Isn't it wonderful? You got phones working so fast. They're altering our cells. It's altering our cells. It's altering our DNA. It's making these bugs stronger and stronger. And so I'm talking about everything from bacteria, viruses, parasites, mycoplasms, nanobac stuff stuff we don't even know about. And I'm teaching this. There's cell wall deficient forms. This is the idea that you have a cell in your body, and say it's a bacterium, and we send out a bunch of antibiotics to kill it off. Well, we kill off all of them, but four of them. And what do those bacteria do? They change their cell wall. So when we send out an antibiotic next time, it goes right by it. It doesn't see it. And there's whole books written on this stuff. And there are live blood analysis doctors out there. They're hard to find, but they are seeing these things now. They're seeing pleomorphism, which is one organism turning into another. Why is all this happening? Electronics, all these
yeah. I
electromagnetic.
was going to say, do you think it
Yep.
is all the
We
electronics?
can't escape them. And then the pesticide, these pesticides,
Yep,
it's in our drinking water. I mean,
yep,
look
yep.
look what they're doing with ethanol, for example, here in the United States. They spray all their corn with glyphosate right before they harvest it. They turn it into fuel, and where does that go? That goes into the air we breathe.
Yeah.
What does that do? Oh well, I mean, we have so many different health challenges these days. That's why a lot of this stuff isn't working anymore. I am a licensed chiropractor. We had at least three people in the class that have a chiropractor seeing every week for 20 years for
Yeah,
neck, back, elbow, knee, some kind of weird ache or pain. We
yeah,
fixed
yeah, yeah.
all of it in these people, and usually we didn't find it where the problem was. I
Mm,
mean, the first woman, she's like, "Oh, well, listen, crunch, crack, crunch, crack, 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 crack." And she's like, "Yeah, I haven't seen my chiropractor for a week. I go every single week. It's can't move my neck, this and that." I had a woman across the room treat her, and her back heated up down by her hips.
yep.
Her entire neck came unglued. She's she felt it all down here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's all bugs down there pulling on all the fibers all the way up through the body, and we just don't talk, we don't learn this stuff in school. You have to dig to find these things. And yeah, so it's kind of funny. She's a corporate executive, the woman who fixed her from across the room. And I just talked to another friend here in town who runs an herb store, and this woman just happened to drive by the herb store on her way out of town yesterday, and they got to chatting, and the woman, Nancy, told my friend, says, "Yeah, I just came from Dr. Cahill's training." She says, "Oh my God, I can't believe that's amazing, awesome. How was it? Oh, it was great, fantastic." She said, "Well, I've been meaning to call Dr. T because I've been having these headaches now for a couple of weeks." And Nancy says, "Well, let me just take a look," and she fixes them for her on the spot.
Oh, amazing.
That was yesterday. So
Yeah.
so my friend called me today. Hey, guess what? No headache. I've been having them every day for 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, and completely gone, 100% gone. So I'm going to send Nancy a nasty email and tell her I'm starving, I'm hungry. She's taking my business away from me. How dare she steal a client from me?
But I mean, you must, you're saying you're working 10 to 12 hours a day or whatever it was. So you need to kind of train other people, don't you? Because there's only so many people that you can fit in.
Doctors are unaware of what I'm talking about. Look at everybody is sick.
Yeah,
Everybody listening to
yeah,
this
yeah,
is sick. And if you aren't sick, thank God. But you know someone who's sick.
yeah,
And so I've got to get this out there
yeah,
because this is who's going to help that woman who's 102-degree temperature for 35 years? She's already been to everybody.
yeah,
Lovely person. When you see somebody, we've said, I mean, there was women in the class who's one of them had a sister rushed to a hospital for something. She went home the next morning. She saved, we're saving lives with this work.
Yeah.
And this isn't just it isn't just me now. The stuff I'm hearing from my graduates. I have a mentorship program. We pretty much are in contact every month. The stuff that's happening is absolutely mind blowing. These are bona fide miracles that you can't. I don't know how else to describe them. It
Yeah.
isn't just, and they aren't just getting lucky. People know now. Everyone knows they have faith in this angelic realm, and they know that when they call these angels forward, it's going to change. It's going to change somebody's life.
And
Um,
do you
I don't-
think that we can change, bigger things like the whole climate crisis? And, do you think we can use these powers to somehow create bigger change to heal the
I
earth?
believe so. Yeah, we do that on these mentorship calls. We usually have about 30 to 40 people on, and you better believe that's what we're doing.
Mm,
We have a lot of challenges right now. A lot
yeah.
of challenges have been bestowed upon this planet and on humanity.
Mm,
And so we are having success in some of these areas. Unfortunately, we can't talk about it because it's forbidden. But I have a protocol that we've come up with where we're turning some of these interventions around, and it's amazing, and it's instantaneous. It doesn't take, oh, here, take these supplements for 6 months and see how you're feeling. It's right now. It's in seconds, if not
mm,
minutes. And so we are collectively doing this for the planet. We're collectively doing this for countries, on top of all the other stuff that we do. Yeah,
yeah.
so yeah, we're doing
Great.
it.
Thank you for
we're
doing that. Yeah.
yeah, we're building a community because I believe in that kind. I think that we need to do these kinds of these goodwill things. I mean, it feels good to you. It feels good to everyone else. All of these calls we've had here recently, we're doing big love blast to some of these families, of some of these recent tragedies that we've had
Yeah.
here in the United States.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
boy, things are really getting nutty over. I mean, they always have been nutty over here, but whew, this last year, things have for some weird reason, things have gotten worse.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's really true. So, but speaking of supplements, I was going to ask you, we've got all this stuff blasting us all the time, all the chemicals, all the electromagnetics. Do you recommend to people, things like eating organic and, doing what they can to avoid getting, this stuff impacting you as much as it can if you're not aware of it and you're not doing anything? What's your take on that?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Most people here, most of my clients are already on to all that.
Yeah.
I don't get the McDonald's people. I don't get the people who eat, processed foods. People who brush their teeth with fluoride toothpaste. I don't get a lot of those people. And when I
Right.
do,
So they've already tried they're
most
already
people
doing all
are
that stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
most people who find me are already doing that stuff,
Yeah.
and,
Okay.
and so I don't have to do a lot. I mean,
Okay.
I don't need to convince anybody of anything. I mean, you know, but there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the body that we do need help with. Stomach
Yeah.
linings are ripped up.
Yeah.
People have such bad stomach linings. It's from all the meds and painkillers and antibiotics and all the stuff that even when you were a kid, you take them when you're a kid, that
Yes.
stuff is still in your body.
Yes.
Um, People who grow up in the Midwest and like of the United States, like in the corn states, Iowa, Illinois, Michigan, Ohio. These people are all dropping like flies from cancer,
Yeah.
from all the pesticides.
Yes.
So I get somebody from there. I'm like, well, it's up to you. You do what you want to do, but you need about 5 things just to get those pesticides out of your body. So I use, what we do is I teach you a method of access to all of consciousness. I mean, if you and I really are part of the same thing, which I know we are, then we need to have access. We can access that to
Yeah.
find out what's gone wrong in your systems. That's how I do this work remotely.
Mm.
And there's everybody on here has these experiences. Everybody listening to you has these experiences where you think of somebody you haven't seen in years and years and years. You either they
And then
call
they
you,
will. Yeah.
I mean, in our class, I'm driving home. I picked the 3 people up from the airport to come to my class last week, and we get to talking on the way home. There's a woman in the front seat, 2 women in the back, and a guy in the back, And the woman up front says, "Oh, wow, where are you guys all from?" And one of the women in the back says, "Well, I'm from Los Angeles." "Oh, Los Angeles, my daughter lives out there." "Oh, good, good. What do you do?" "Well, I'm a set decorator for a television show." And she says, "What TV show?" And she tells her, she says, "Well, my daughter works in that show." And she says, "What's her name?" It's such and such name. It's Kennedy." And the woman in the back says, "Yeah, I'm her boss. I'm the one who got her in the union and got her da 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 da." She says, "Oh my God, you're the woman that she's been telling me about. And how amazing you are. You're such a good person to my daughter," and blah 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 blah. And we get to the seminar the next morning, and the first two women who walk in, I go, "What are you doing here? Oh my God, I haven't seen you in 30 years." They went to high school together.
Mm.
This is consciousness.
We are all
People who
connected.
hear this, who are like, "Oh, I need help," you need to call me. I'm happy to
Yeah.
help you. Get on one of
Yeah.
these programs. The rest of you who don't are just like, he's crazy, whatever. Good luck. I
Yeah.
wish you all the best. I hope you find healing, because it sucks when you're sick. That's how I got into this mess. It was an accident, but literally was an accident. I was broken up, and I love to get people out of pain and get them out of their disease states, and see people thrive. It's
Mm.
always been my philosophy and my practice. I don't want to see somebody every week. I really do love people, but I also can't stand people. I want you out living your life.
Yeah.
And that's just that's a little bit different philosophy than most practitioners, unfortunately.
Yeah.
They have a lack of complex or something that, you have to keep people coming in. There's so many people who are sick and not doing well. We have Getting more clients is never an issue. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
yeah, it's me. It's just not an issue.
And I wanted to ask you as well. So Reiki was my first modality, and what I still certainly use in most of my healing sessions. And you said something about what I'm doing. It's not like Reiki. So do you mean you're not channeling the energy?
No, we're directing the angels to do the work.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're
Okay.
directing. So we're using intention and knowledge. If they don't know what to do, that's why the class is so important, because I've packed it with all 25 years of clinical experience. If you don't know viruses can live inside the nervous system, then you're missing a lot of stuff. If you don't know viruses love to go from this organ to that organ and cause depression, anxiety, self-deprecating thoughts, suicidal thoughts is a pathogen. Doctors are so far behind, they're not even talking about it. They talk about mental health, and they don't even look at any of this stuff.
Mm.
But we've seen lifelong depression disappear in seconds. How the hell's that happen? These are pathogens that live within us that create poisons. They defecate just like any other bug, just like we do. And these toxins travel around the body. You have a receptor for dopamine, right? Here comes dopamine, molecule. Well, now all of a sudden you have all these molecules that look like dopamine but aren't. So now all you got's one spot. You can't get enough dopamine in her to feel good. So you're depressed your entire life.
Yeah.
So your mom was depressed, her mother was, her father was. It goes back generationally. It's passed on through generations. It's passed on to us. They talk about genetics. Genetics is just not, it's not what they claim it is. They get to go, "Oh, it's genetic. Oh, so-and-so had it. It's just genetic." It's not genetics. These are bugs. These are pathogens. I mean, I just had a woman, I can't remember the name of the disease. It's a high platelet disease. Who knows? Some of these names are crazy. So she's got high platelets. I find a pathogen in her. But the doctors are, "Oh, it's genetic." Well, her other sister has the same thing, doesn't have any problems, but another sister doesn't have the so-called interrupted gene, the gene marker, but
Yeah.
she has high platelets.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on there? They just don't. That just doesn't make any sense. She has high platelets, just as high as the other two girls, but she doesn't have the gene marker. That doesn't mean it's genetic. It means
Yeah.
there's something being passed on.
Yeah.
I think she's going to be. I mean, we won't know for a few months because all her blood cells have to be regenerated to see. But I'm pretty sure we will have a miracle with her, and she won't have high platelets anymore.
Mm. So, yeah, can you give us well, I guess I wanted to just, understand what a healing with you is like. And I don't know if you can do some kind of a demo or just explain, what it's like for the person experiencing it. What do they feel? Other than obviously feeling better? Um,
Well, everybody is different, of course. So some people get really hot. Some people feel
Mhm.
it just depends on what we're working on. We worked on a cyst on a guy the other day, and he thought I was standing next to him with a blowtorch. It was that hot, and he was
Wow.
in another country somewhere. I don't even remember where the heck he was. I think he was in Canada somewhere. And so some of these we do these live calls. I don't know, every few months, and it's all on the website. I think we'll probably start them again in August. But it's really fascinating. It's really fascinating to see, 35 people all putting in different things that they're wrong with them. And I try to pick new people. We've had some people that kept coming back and they've had really systemic issues, and so I always try to see them as well. Really try to help them get them moving. But everyone's different. But everybody does feel something. Like, pretty much everybody feels something. Like, depending what we're working on. Do
Mhm.
you have anything going on that you're concerned about, or you want me to look at, or not really?
So I've had high blood pressure for all of this year, and I do feel like it's stress related. As far as lifestyle, everything I do for blood pressure is great. But my biggest, I was thinking while we were talking, what would I get him to work on? My biggest issue at the moment is that my hair is so thin and keeps falling out. And I'm sure there's an underlying cause there, but my naturopathic doctor and I have not been able to work it out. But
How long has that been going on?
oh, look, it's been going on for years and years, probably, coming up to 20 years, but in the last, few years, it's been heaps more. So, the last time I went back to the hairdresser, she's like, "Oh my goodness, you've got no hair anymore." And I used to have heaps of hair. And as a woman, it's very frustrating.
Yeah, it's coming from your liver,
Um,
and so is some of your high blood pressure as well. Liver, and I'm also finding adrenals. Do you have a tendency towards anxiety when there's
yes.
nothing to be worried about? Yeah, so that's adrenals, thyroid. Let me just take a look here really quick here. Oh yeah, no, we would you probably taken plenty of stuff for your adrenal glands, but it doesn't matter. You still have anxiety. So see,
Yep.
there's an organic cause. You have some kind of virus. I am finding some kind of pathogen that's inside the adrenals. It loves to scratch it and produce norepinephrine. Then it's food for them.
Mhm.
So that also will trigger the nervous system to give you a higher blood. Something your nervous system thinks that there's a bear jumping out of the trees, but there's
Yeah.
no bear. And so we need to fix that. So if you quiet your mind, you take a breath in and breathe out, and just get your mind quiet. Can you actually feel a buzz in your body like a little physical sensation of a buzz of
Yeah.
anxiety? Yeah,
Mhm.
fascinating, right? So I get out my doctor book. You get one of these in my class. This is my doctor book. It just helps me focus.
Mhm.
So you're gonna just kind of pay attention to that buzzing in your body and tell me when it's gone. Yeah, this has been here a while, but that should start quieting right about now.
Yeah, it feels different. It feels
Mm-hmm.
lighter.
Mm-hmm. Just a little bit more here. This has been around a long time. It's usually gone really fast, but this is really far in there, probably. How many children do you have?
Too.
That should feel a lot more quiet now. I'm going to move further up to within your endocrine system further, because I find that usually once we have that, a lot of other tissues get misregulated or dysregulated. So we're going to just fix that. So I'm actually inside your brain. I'm in your pituitary, your pineal, your thyroid, and then I'm going to look at that liver for you. So now your supplements for your adrenals will help you. So you'll want to get some adrenal support, and you'll also want to get something more for your liver. There's all kinds of stuff. Shazandra's really good. Milk thistle's really good. Philanthus nairi is really good. That helps with electromagnetics and decongests the liver. So I'm finding your liver's pretty plugged. Now, when you have two children, you have to detox those babies, and doctors don't look at that. And so what that does is it creates a mess, and so we're just cleaning that mess up for you. Even though it's not there anymore, uh, it clogs the liver, and if the liver is clogged, it isn't working, it isn't clean and clear and working correctly. What's the heart got to do? Work harder.
Mhm.
Also, we know there's a neurological connection from gallbladder to the heart as well. So gallbladder and liver both work together basically, and if they're under functioning, that will also cause the heart to beat harder. Now, I'm also finding an emotional affect for you as well for your heart. So let's fix that here. Once I finish this. Good God, do you have your Visa card with you? I think we're gonna need I think we're gonna need some money, and we're gonna need a little more time for you. You're I'm joking.
Yeah, I'll come back.
Yeah, I'm joking. I'm gonna have you take a little breath in and a little breath out. Let's take your right hand and underneath into your left armpit, and drop your arm down or your hand down about 4 inches, and just press in there like a broad contact. Just press in there. Is it tender in there?
No,
Nowhere at all.
no.
Did I already fix that? Says I didn't. You should, and so kind of go a little bit. Yeah, so it's mid axillary line. So go a little bit lower below your breast, up like even with your breast, all the way up to your up to your armpit, and it's not tender anywhere. And you don't have to poke it; it's just a broad contact. No.
No.
Oh, okay. Fascinating. I've never seen this before. So let me see here. Did we fix this already? Well, interesting. The indication is that we fixed it, but haven't seen that in a long time. Maybe you're just so open that you just went ahead and fixed it for me. But I'm going to do one more thing, just because we can. When I find that, we can't leave you like this. We have to do one more minute. You have 1 more minute.
Yeah, of course.
Just everybody listening, have a minute. If you do what we're about to do. So you'll take a breath in, and you'll breathe out and relax your mind, and bring to mind where your heart is in your body, where your heart is, and fill it full of compassion for yourself. Yeah, compassion for yourself, that pity, that sympathy, that kindness, that warmth and love, that tender-heartedness, soft-heartedness, that mercy, having mercy and being lenient with yourself. Yep. What else is there? That tolerance and kindness and consideration and warmth and love and care for yourself. Excellent. And then move it over to appreciation. These are things that you appreciate about yourself. The enjoyment of these good qualities about yourself. All those things that you do and you look back on, I'm glad I did that. Things you value about yourself, things you respect, things you cherish, things you admire, things you have a high opinion of, things you hold in high regard. Things you give thanks for, an acknowledgement to yourself, a hat tip towards yourself, a gratefulness and a thankfulness for who you are and who you have become in life. And take a breath in and a breath out. So that is a heart resonance technique, and so we just bathe your entire body by doing that, holding that for 1 minute. As you're doing that, I'm holding these angels, vibration of angels that come in. They change vibration of cells. They remind you how beautiful you are. They love you. They follow you around. They guide you through to the future. They do a whole bunch of stuff for us. So I'm holding space for them to do that. As you're doing that, all the blood's rushing through your body, and you are amplifying that vibration to all of your organs now. So it really helps with the heart.
Mhm.
And that's on my website. That simple technique is on my website. You can, you plug in your email, and then my team emails you a billion things. Go on and get all the free stuff. You should have Relax to Heal for sure. That's a 20-minute recording that just helps your mind remember how to relax. Everything in life is easier when we're relaxed.
Mm,
Everything is.
mm.
And so there's also built into the recording a lot of this intent to have these subconscious distortions cleared out. I think it'll fix that high blood pressure. What you do need to do some supplementation now for your liver, and I believe your hair will now grow back.
Yay.
Yeah, I really do. You might want to be sure you have the trace minerals and silica.
Yep.
So it's
Okay.
huge for your hair.
Mhm.
Those are the big things that I'm hearing that you should do for your hair. But it should stop falling out now, and that's one of the side effects of the vaccine and of COVID. In case you don't know, is hair falling out. You you
Yeah.
probably you probably didn't go down that road, right? Good.
I haven't had COVID, no, but I did have the vaccine
Oh,
because
you
we
did.
kind of had to.
Uh,
They kind of mandated it here in
yeah.
the state that I live in. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's been a real problem for people. That's
Yep.
turned out to be a real big problem
Ah,
for
that's
people.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me just take a quick peek there and see if we can't just take care of that bad part of that, because all the hair falling out all started after that was introduced. I've tried. I've come up with a very specific treatment for that. That's actually how I discovered to treat the whole thing. I had a client whose hair was falling out in glumps. She had the thickest hair you've ever seen, and she sent me a picture, and she was holding a handful like a softball, and she's like, "This is how much fell out this morning." I was like, "We need to get on the phone." So it took a couple of times before they showed me how to stop the negative effects from that. But hers was the first person whose hair we fixed. And do you know how fast that treatment travels? You fix somebody's hair falling out, and you have
Yeah.
a line of people at your door.
Oh,
I mean, I'm not
yeah.
joking. It's
Yeah.
just like, now you might feel this. You feel your body warming up?
Yes, I do. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely gonna feel this one. So let me just make sure we get all of this, and then we can call it a day. And I'll have you take a little breath in and a little breath out. You should have felt like your whole body was in an oven for just a few seconds, and then it'll start quieting back down again. But
Yeah. And
that's the
kind of
ginger.
a tingly kind of
Yep.
sensation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
angels. That's what they
Yeah.
do. They change vibration.
Yeah.
This is a form of vibratory work. You mentioned about Reiki. I looked at a lot of that stuff, a lot of different types of the energy work in the beginning, but it wiped me out. I mean, I would see three people, and I'd be done for the day.
Yeah.
That was the problem with it. So I always knew I needed to come up with something that was something that wasn't take as much as your energy, and so I think we found it, and it really works. I think you're going to have a really nice recovery.
Nice head of hair. Uh, oh, thank you. And yeah, so for everybody out there watching and listening, yes. So I felt, yeah, as I said, the tingling, certainly the heating up when Dr. T said I would feel that. And in the first bit, yeah, just I at the moment I've got all this big stuff happening in my life, and so anxiety is kind of always there, and a lot of kind of feeling like pressure around my heart, um, and that just all dissipated. So yeah.
That should stay gone. That should stay gone. Certainly support your adrenals and your liver, and I think that I don't think that'll come back. I
Mm,
rarely ever hardly ever find the heart is a problem. The heart has its own nervous system, its own
mm,
circulatory system.
yeah.
It's usually somewhere else. I don't know how cardiologists stay in business, because they shouldn't. They shouldn't even be allowed in business, because all they do is look at the heart. When's the last time a doctor put a hand on you?
Mm,
That's the first thing I teach in class is how to go through the organs, figure out what organ is actually causing harm in the body. Figure out that priority organ, because if you have one organ that's under functioning, it's stealing energy from all the other organs. That's how the body works. But doctors don't even, they look at their chart, they don't even touch you. They don't even look at you anymore. They look at the chart. It's
yeah.
crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy where we're at.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And, obviously, thank you for your time. Before I let you go, what do you want to share with people about how they can find your website? I know you've mentioned a few things that are on there, but what is it? And is there anything else you want people to know, any programs or events that you wanted to share?
Yeah, the website is A as in Adam, human engineer, a human engineer. That's the
Mhm.
name that this client gave me 20 years ago. So I got the website 20 years ago. So ahumanengineer.com. It has there's all kinds of free stuff on there. There's Relax to Heal is on there. Oh, there's a limp video on there you should get. There's what the heck? Oh, that heart resonance technique is on there. What we did, you and I did, that's on there. Those three simple things have changed. So I get so many emails from people saying thanking me for giving that to you, because chances are it's going to really turn everything around, especially with you with this tendency towards high blood pressure. Giving that extra attention to your heart really makes a big difference. We're so hard on ourselves, right?
Mhm.
We're just hard on ourselves from the time we're kids. We're hard on ourselves, and the heart loves to have compassion felt for itself
Yeah.
instead of for our kids or our dog or our cat or our family, everybody else all the time. It likes to have that feeling. Um, Spread love, spread joy. Joy is such an important thing. If you can make somebody smile, make somebody laugh, you feel good, they feel good. Anybody seeing it feels better.
Yeah.
Joy is right behind love. Love is the most important thing in life, and joy is right behind it. And I love bugging people and saying hello, good afternoon. We've lost our ways. People don't do that anymore. It's sad.
Yeah.
It's one of the things I love about this country I've adopted, Nicaragua. Somebody walks into a restaurant in Nicaragua, they walk in and they say "Buenas tardes," and I was like, "Who the hell are they talking to?" And they're talking to the whole restaurant. They aren't talking to anybody. They're just giving a greeting that, "Hey, I've arrived and I want to say good afternoon to everybody," and
Mhm.
everyone does it.
Yeah.
Um, I was in Los Angeles playing my game, disc golf, and I bet I passed 500 people, and not a single person looked me in the eye or said hello to me or said good morning or good afternoon, anything.
Mm, mm.
Nothing. And so I couldn't wait to get back to Arizona, because here you can't shut them up.
I think we're a bit more friendly and talkative down under.
I think so also. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been wonderful to meet you, and thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. And I really encourage people who are suffering in any way to get in touch with you.
Thank you.